How's it going there, mandolin player? In today's video, you are going to be playing one of the most classic Bill Monroe instrumentals out there, Roanoke. This one is a bit of a rite of passage for mandolin players, fiddle players, and guitar players alike, pretty much because it's so dang fast. This is one of those kind of athletic tunes that a lot of folks like to pass around the festival jams and things like that. So this is definitely one that you're going to want to learn here. And in today's lesson, we're going to be breaking down some of the right hand mechanics to help you achieve a fast, fluent sound on this tune when you're playing it at those breakneck speeds. Before we go ahead and dive into the lesson, if you haven't had a chance, hit that subscribe button below and the bell notification button. That way you get notified whenever we upload a new video lesson here to the Mandolin Secrets channel. Also, if you're interested in things like PDFs of the tab and sheet music for tunes, as well as backing tracks and access to our community of other learners just like you, go ahead and click that link below in the description to the Mandolin Secrets Academy. There you're going to find all of those goodies and instructions on how to sign up for our membership. Alright, mandolin player, before we go ahead and dive into learning this tune, I'm going to give you a fast version of this tune one more time, just so you can kind of get a feel for how this tune is played at tempo. And one thing I want you to kind of look at as you're watching this clip, check out my right hand and notice some of the kind of rolling motions that it makes as I'm ascending and descending the strings. This is something we're going to talk about in the lesson footage later. Alright, let's go ahead and dive into a fast version of Roanoke. Alright, my friend, I know that the tempo may seem a little intimidating if you've never played this tune before or if you consider yourself a beginner or intermediate player, but I promise you that with a little bit of practice, you too can achieve these kind of athletic bluegrass tempos with a little thought and care to the mechanics in our left and right hand. Right now, I'm going to cue up another version of this tune at 150 beats per minute. That's going to slow things down quite a bit so that you can view those right hand and left hand motions that I was talking about before. Before we dive into this version though, there's one thing I want you to pay attention to. As you're looking at the kind of first few measures of this tune, there are some kind of key right hand motions that I like to keep in mind when I'm playing some of these lines. So for example, the first line of the tune goes a little bit like this. Now, if you're watching me play that, you probably noticed some right hand motion like this as I was playing through some of those lines. And there's a really specific reason that I do that on some of these faster tunes. A lot of players that have kind of explored speed picking like to think about escape angles for their pick. If this is something that you've never heard before, I'm going to break it down right here. So say that you're playing an odd number of notes on a string. So for example, the pickup notes and the first note of our melody here in measure 1. So after that note, I need to switch down to the G. Now if my hand, you notice that my pinky is kind of pointed out. I'm exaggerating it here. This motion is called pronation, where we lift our pinky away. The opposite of that is supination, where you would kind of turn your pinky in or the top of your wrist out. So if you're playing an odd number of notes on a string and then need to switch to a new string, you'll want your wrist to be a little pronated, because that gives you the proper escape angle to get into that next string. So for example, again, I'm pronated. My hand is out away from the string, which leaves my pick free to swing back in and hit a note on that G string. Now, for example, if my hand was supinated, I'm caught in between the D and the A strings here and would have to remove my pick and skip up here in order to get that note on the G. I know this may seem a little confusing, but like I said, the simple formula is odd number of notes per string, pinky out. Even number of notes per string, you can tuck that pinky in, and in fact, that's going to help achieve those lines a little easier. So at the end of bar 1, going into bar 2, we have a passage that looks like this. So you'll notice 1, 2, 3, 4. My upstroke is here. My pick is free to, bam, hit that D string. Once again, if my pinky was pronated here, my pick is behind the G, I would have to lift it out in order to hit that D. So as you notice my right hand moving through this kind of medium tempo version of the tune, try and think about that. And if you have the tab or the sheet music to this one in front of you, it's going to help a lot better because you can see if there's an even number or an odd number of notes per string. All right, enough yakking on that. Let's go ahead and dive into this tune at 150 beats per minute and pay special attention to that right hand, okay? Here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and slow things down even more, just so you can get a really kind of acute sense of those right hand motions that I'm talking about. Before we dive into this slow version though, I want to talk a little bit about the B part. If you're watching these two different versions that I've just played here, you'll notice that sometimes I kind of slide into those double stops that we have. That's not exactly notated in the tablature there, but I think it's kind of a cool phrasing to add to the tune once you get it up to those higher tempos. But for now, at this slow tempo, just worry about hitting that double stop dead on in the measure and not sliding in and out. But as you bring things up to speed, feel free to kind of do a bit of a grace note slide into those double stops to kind of add a little forward momentum and energy to those lines, okay? All right, let's go ahead and dive into Roanoke at 100 beats per minute. Alright, my friend, that is it for the fiddle version of the melody to Roanoke. Now you may be wondering, why am I calling this the fiddle version of the melody? Well, if you listen to Monroe's original recording of this tune, this version of the melody that I've taught you here today is actually more akin to what the fiddles in that version play as opposed to Monroe. But stay tuned, I've actually got a Monroe version of this tune queued up for you, and we're going to be releasing a lesson shortly in the near future on that one. So, if you are interested to kind of access more of that staccato and skeleton melody approach that Bill Monroe takes, we're going to get you taken care of, okay? Alright, my friend, thank you so much for checking out this lesson. Before we get out of here, drop us a comment below and let us know, is speed playing something that you're interested in, and have you thought about supination and pronation in the right hand? This is something that I've kind of just recently started exploring, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, music maker, thank you so much for checking this video out. We'll catch you in the next one.